Hello everyone, this is Global Fashion Workshop. I remind you that we post new videos every day. I also want to remind you that some of our video courses are already available. Buy them if you haven't done it yet. We would really appreciate your support. Today we'd like to show you how to edge a sleeve with a cuff combined with a bow. This is a mock-up of a sleeve. We've cut the pattern and extended its width. We did it in order to make a gather at the bottom. We also need the cuff detail and the bow detail, and a piece of the interfacing material sized according to the arm circumference. Let's get down to work. First of all, we need to mark the center sleeve. The slit and the bow will be placed here in the center sleeve. Do not shift it to the back. Nataly marks the center sleeve and the top of the slit, 7 cm up from the bottom. The slit will be edged with a baby hem. We need to make a cut here. Do not forget to mark the wrong side. We need to edge the slit with the baby hem right away. The seam should be very tight. Be accurate. Watch the way Nataly is working. Have a close look at the way Nataly stitches the corner. When you reach the corner, turn the detail slowly and accurately. You can also edge the slit with the bias binding. When the first seam is ready, cut the extra pieces from the seam. The baby hem should be tiny. Be very accurate, please. Fold the seam once again and make the second seam. It's not hard to work when all the extra pieces are cut. Be especially attentive when stitching the top of the slit. Such sleeve would look very beautiful if made of very light fabrics. In this case, the bow would look absolutely amazing. The baby hem is neat. Have a close look at the slit edged with the baby hem. As I've said, you can also edge it with the bias binding. It's all up to you. For the slit not to be round, Nataly is going to make a tiny dot here at the top. Join the sides, pin them, and stitch a tiny dart. It should be about 1 cm long. The top of the slit is not round anymore. Have a close look at it. We'll iron it later. But first, we're going to stitch the underarm seam. We're going to edge the underarm seam with the French hem. This is why the width of the seam is 5 mm. Make the first seam from the right side. Cut the extra pieces from the seam, a couple of millimeters, and then go to the ironing desk. The stitch seam should be ironed accurately. Do not forget about the slit. Be very attentive. Make sure not to make any pleats. Have a close look at the slit. There is a tiny dot on top of it. Remember that we've stitched the underarm seam from the right side. The seam should be pressed open. Have a look at the way Nataly is doing it. You can edge it with the novel locker. But if you use thin fabrics, like cambric, silk or chiffon, it's better to edge the underseam with the French seam. Next, Nataly folds the fabric along the seam line and presses it. The sleeve is almost ready. Let's double the cuff right away. The length of this detail is 1 meter. 70 centimeters are for the bow. These ends are 35 centimeters long each. I simply take the measuring tape. Make a bow of it. You can make it as big as you want. By doing so, I define the length of fabric needed for the bow. The arm circumference is 30 centimeters plus 70 centimeters for the bow. This is how it should be done. Join the center of the cuff and apply the piece of the interfacing material. This is the cuff itself. Fold one of the edges for 5 millimeters and press it. It will make the future work easier. Then, fold the detail in half and press it once again. Be very attentive. Fold and press only the central part of the detail. We've prepared the cuff for the future work. Let's go back to the sewing machine. We need to stitch the underarm seam once again. The width of the seam is 5 millimeters. The seam is very elegant. We need to iron it once again. Be very careful when ironing the garments from the right side. The sleeve is ready for the future work. Last time we showed you how to make a slit and edge it. And we also showed you how to stitch the underarm seam with the French hem. Today we're going to show you how to gather the sleeve and how to attach the cuff with the bow to it. Nataly is stitching the sleeve bottom in order to gather it. The width of the seam is 5 millimeters. Make the seam from one side of the slit to the other. Next, Nataly is going to make one more seam parallel to the first one. The distance between the seams is 5 millimeters. You need to make 2 seams in order for the gather to be beautiful. Next, we need to gather the sleeve in such way that it's just 30 centimeters wide. Be very attentive. You should always pull the lower threads to make even gathers. It's a must. Have a look here. Nataly has gathered the sleeves, checked if it was of an accurate width, and now she can distribute the gather evenly. As I've said in the previous video, such sleeves would look good if made of light fabrics. You can make a simple blouse and decorate it with such sleeves. It would look very elegant. Check if the width of the sleeve is accurate. The sleeve would look so beautiful. Let's get down to working with the cuff. We need to find the center of the cuff. Do not forget to trim the edges after applying the interfacing material. Do not forget to make a notch in the center of the cuff. The bow is going to be pretty big. It will be attached right to the slit, so Nataly needs to join the underarm seam and the center of the cuff and pin the details together. First, we need to stitch the details face to face. And then we'll make one more seam from the wrong side with the invisible stitches. The width of the seam is 5 millimeters. We're stitching from the cuff side. Thus, the feed dog would spread the gather evenly. Stitch the details from one side of the slit to the other. Well done. Nataly has stitched the cuff. Have a close look at it. Next, we need to iron it. Let's go to the ironing desk. Iron the seam carefully. Do it from the right side. Direct the seam allowance to the cuff. This is what Nataly is doing now. Be very attentive, please. Do not press the gathers. You can spoil it. Very nice. Let's go to the sewing machine. The ends of the bow should be cut on the bias. You can cut them however you want. Make them square or round. Pin the edges. We'll edge the bow just like a waistband. Have a look here. We can partially stitch the cuff. Thus, a small piece of it will be left for the handwork. It would be very convenient. Start stitching from the angle. The width of the seam is 5 millimeters. Nataly pinned the details for stitching. You can tag them if you want to. When you reach the cuff, make sure to stitch right in the ditch. Stitch just a small part and make a back stitch. Cut the extra pieces from the seams. We should be able to turn the bow right side out. Turn the ends of the bow right side out. We will tag the bow for ironing. Be very attentive, please. Spread the angles carefully. Next, we need to tag the seam with the bias stitches. We're doing it in order to be able to iron the seam accurately. The bow should be neat and beautiful. Watch what Nataly is doing attentively. She's pressed the seam allowance. The seams should be tight and thin. You should tack the both ends of the bow this way. Have a look at the result. We've tacked the ends of the bow. The cuff is not finished yet. First, we need to iron the bow. Then we'll remove the tacking and the other extra threads. It's not hard to iron the tack details. Remove the tacking. And iron the ends of the bow once again. We need to remove the seams, which were made in order to gather the sleeve. The gather is fixed by the cuff. Have a look here. This side of the cuff is stitched. The rest of the edge should be tacked by hand. The sleeve will be very elegant. Nataly is pinning the cuff to the sleeve. You can take it if you want to. It depends on your sewing skills. Be very attentive. It's a delicate work. Nataly is sewing the cuff with the invisible stitches. The stitches should be tiny. Such a beautiful sleeve can decorate any blouse. I think that these videos are very useful. We need to iron the cuff once again. It looks very beautiful. Do not forget that you need to make 2 sleeves. We're just making the mock-up. Have a look at the result. The sleeve looks very beautiful. We've made a bow. The slit ends with a small dart. The cuff was sewn with the invisible stitches from the wrong side. You can also edge a long sleeve this way. Be creative. We were glad to show you this technique. We hope that you find it useful. Be different and beautiful. We're Ira and Nataly. Buy our courses, subscribe to this channel, write comments, share the videos, press a like and the bell buttons. We would really appreciate your support. Thank you. Goodbye.